So, I've not made a video in about 3 months. I was on a pretty good roll, making about, I think it was about a video a month, which was my plan. Which was easy to do when I was reading the Murderbot Diaries, since they were short books. But I've kind of gotten distracted doing other things at the moment. I have just recorded a video diary about Before They Are Hanged, which is the second book in the First Law trilogy, which I will be uploading. You'll probably notice I'm wearing the same outfit because it's the same day. The other thing is this book. Systems Collapse by Martha Wells, which is the 7th book in the Murderbot Diaries series. I got to page 94 and I cannot bear to read another page. Sorry. This book is not very good in my opinion. It's very boring. Nothing interesting's really happened. I might read it one day. It's a shame because I was really looking forward to this since I've seen it has really good reviews. But for me, Network Effect was way better, and Network Effect was deeply flawed. Network Effect was deeply flawed and much better than this, and I just don't get this book. I don't. It's shorter. It's nothing's really happened. The only interesting thing is the main character keeps saying redacted. Anyway, I might make a video on it, but to be honest with you, I don't plan on finishing it. I just dread picking it up and reading it. I'm just forcing myself to read it, and that for me that is a clear indicator that I need to put the book down and stop reading it. So I will not be finishing that book probably, so don't expect a video on it. And the next thing that I've been doing is I have been writing my own tabletop RPG, because a lot of people who have played tabletop games, like played D&D for a long time, maybe you play World of Darkness, maybe you play Call of Cthulhu, Stars Without Number, Pathfinder, any of the big tabletop games out there. For me, I'm a World of Darkness guy. I've been running a Vampire the Masquerade 20th edition campaign for about 6 years now, and it will be... We finished the second arc of 3 now, so there will be a third arc that I'll be running as well. And each of those campaigns was about 120, 130 sessions per campaign, and we're going to be doing a third campaign to finish it off. And it's really kind of, I've run so many tabletop RPGs in my lifetime. I played basically everything. Blades in the Dark, Call of Cthulhu, fucking Rogue Trader, Star Wars Genesis, did pretty much everything. It's basically my main hobby, to be honest with you, tabletop RPG gaming, and I've decided I'm just going to make my own. I'm not expecting to like sell it or anything, but I might make some videos on it and talking about how I'm setting it up. It's basically, because for me, not to piss anyone off, guys, it's your table, your rules, your game. Don't let me tell you how to play tabletop games. Rule number 1 of tabletop RPGs: it's your table, it's your game. You do whatever the fuck you want, and nobody can tell you otherwise. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. I got distracted here while I was talking. What I was going to say before I got distracted is that every person who's been running tabletop RPGs for a very long time in lots of different systems, you'll know there comes a point where the games that you're running are more homebrew than not. And I'm sure that many of you have experienced this. Those of you who are big tabletop RPG fans and players, and whether you're a DM, a GM, storyteller, a keeper, whatever term you want to use for the person who runs the game, or a player, you know, once you have a mature group of players who have been playing together for a very long time, as I have, because I have a group of players who have been playing together for about 6 years now, we all know what we like. We know what we do and what we want out of tabletop RPGs, right? And you just get to a point where you might as well just fucking make your own system entirely, because, you know, for us, we homebrew basically everything. Everything, basically, pretty much. I mean, with Vampire, for example, we're like running a shit ton of homebrew systems. for D&D, whenever we run D&D, we just homebrew the shit out of it, because quite frankly we find it unplayable if you don't, compared to other games anyway. So basically I've just gone, fuck it, I'm just going to make my own system. My own system that is open enough and wide enough and has enough options that I can use it in pretty much any setting. I can use it for pretty much any kind of storytelling that I need to do. And ultimately it's about what works for me, you know, as the DM, because at the end of the day I am the one who has to run the game. I'm the one who has to put the most effort in, right? Because that is the reality of it. When you're running a game, you do end up, and it is all homebrewed, you do end up putting more effort in. You do end up spending a lot of time working on that campaign to run it, right? And because I do play campaigns with a very loose story, but mostly it's sandbox. Mostly, you know, in my vampire campaign, I have a city written up which has hundreds of NPCs. All of them have backstories written up. Like, basically entire streets and entire places full of buildings with, you know, entire documents dedicated to them. It's a big setting that we've built over 6 years, me and my players, and we know what kind of thing we're into. We know what kind of thing we want as players, and as both as the players and as me, the person running it. And that means that I've gotten to the point where I might as well just be using my own system, a system that I know works for me, one that I have full control over, and that's basically the plan. Just to do that. That's basically what I was going to say. But now I'm going to fly off into like a completely random rant, and I'm going to end up screen sharing and showing a bunch of the tabletop RPG stuff, even though I said that I wasn't going to. So you can start watching the video here, because basically I'm just going to keep ranting about tabletop RPG stuff for the next 10 minutes. So just a warning, guys. However, in my opinion, Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition sucks fat dog dick. It sucks. It's the worst tabletop game I've ever played. It's fucking horrible. Not only is it fucking impenetrable as a DM, needlessly complicated, and video gamey, and the thing that I knew this for years. There's so many things I could make a whole video about how shit I think D&D is. I'm not going to, because it's not really my place to tell people what game to play or what is and isn't good. Or let's just say DC-20 exists. Why would you play D&D over like already DC-20 in its fucking in its like infantile stage is an infinitesimally better game than D&D. Explain to me why a character should ever have a number of health points over 100. Explain it to me. Why shouldn't everyone just have like what every other tabletop game does, where it's like between 1 and 15 health, and then everything is so simple. It's like no wonder D&D is impossible to balance. You know, loads of basic things that just make it fucking impenetrable to run. I've also been running a D&D campaign for about 6 months now, and I've never had less fun running a tabletop RPG in my life. I used to run D&D a lot when I was like 12, 13, which is when I started running tabletop RPGs. That was, I think it was 4th edition. Everyone shat on 4th edition, but like the way the powers worked and shit, they were so thematic and so cool. And I don't know, I thought it was way better than 5th edition. That's just me, and maybe that's just based on like me as a player, because me and my group are heavily roleplay and story focused table. We don't care that much about the mechanics. Half the time we feel like D&D is just getting in the way of us doing what we want to do all of the time. And I hate how the classes work. I hate how making a character works. You can't make a real person in D&D. It's basically fucking impossible. That's what I like about V20, is it's like you have a character sheet and it's got like a 1 to 5 scale for everything that a real person could ever have, and you just rank it 1 to 5. You can get any real person and accurately represent them on the character sheet. Basically, by default. You can't do that in D&D because there's just so little, and everything is so heavily tied to your class and stuff like that. Yeah, I guess I'm ranting about how much I hate D&D. I'm going to stop doing that now. But I've just decided that I'm going to write my own, instead of running a shitty, what I think is the worst fantasy tabletop RPG. Like Genesis exists. Why are people still playing tabletop? Why are people still playing D&D when Genesis exists? I know people always say like, oh well, it's so much effort to learn a new system. As someone who has played every single tabletop RPG system out there, it takes like fucking 5 hours to learn how a system works. If you play D&D, you will work out how it works. D&D is far more complicated than anything else you're going to play. Go play Powered by the Apocalypse and tell me that D&D is simple. Sorry. Yeah. So I'm making my own D20 fantasy tabletop RPG. In a lot of ways, it will be similar to D&D, because there are things that D&D does well. They're few and far between, but there are things that D&D does well. But unfortunately, it's going to be quite similar to DC20. But I'm not really making my own tabletop RPG for other people to play it. I might make some videos on it. It's just kind of for me and my group and my friends playing, for me to run my own stories in and my own games in. Maybe one day I'll release it for free on fucking Drive-Thru-RPG or something. We'll see. But yeah, so that's basically where a lot of my time's been going. I've been spending a lot of time writing this tabletop RPG that I'm working on. So in here I have the tabletop RPG I'm working on. It's very cut up at the moment, but I'm already on it's getting a bit too big. I need to start cutting shit back. Yes, I'm using Google Docs to write it. Fuck you. I'm broke and I don't want to give Microsoft money. That is why. So yeah, so far, just on the basic rules, we're looking at 86 pages long. So I'm pretty far into it, but also there's a lot of systems that I'm writing up. So one of the main things that I don't like in D&D is the way spells work. I also don't like leveling. For me, when it comes to tabletop RPGs, having levels is a super outdated and video gamey system. The way other games do it, where you just get experience and you spend that experience to upgrade your character in specific ways, is a far superior way, in my opinion, of doing tabletop games in general. This is just my opinion, obviously different things, but better for different games. And also, the problem with D&D is it's just impenetrable to run as a fucking DM, because the amount of effort you have to put into creating a single monster, especially for me, I need to make all my own monsters. The story, everything I do is completely homebrew. I don't run any pre-made campaigns, settings. I make all my own settings. I make all of my own everything. Even the vampire campaign that I run is a parallel universe where everything is slightly different. So I can't be dealing with how everything working the way it does in fucking what do you call it? It just doesn't work for me. I just realised this is way too big. Whoop, whoop, whoop. So yeah, so 80 pages just on that. I'm doing a class system, but it's a very loose one. So here we have different paths. So I've got the default ones like Druid, whatever. So say for example the Barbarian, not finished yet. So Barbarian is 41 pages long. Wizard, less, but that's because I've got a lot more to add to Wizard. And also because the way I'm balancing spellcasters and martial classes and martial players in general is I'm just kind of doing the Pathfinder route where you just get more shit as a martial. Because that's one of the biggest problems with D&D is casters are way too powerful and they're just objectively better than martials in every way, shape and form. So these are the the classes I've written up. But there are going to be way more classes than in D&D, right? D&D has these very specified classes, whereas I plan on having a lot of they're called paths is what I'm calling them, but I'm planning on having ones that are the merchant, the path of the merchant, where it's all about just having money, making money. You don't have any combat skills whatsoever. Things like that, and it's kind of it uses a feature system, kind of like in D&D. Apart from the worst thing about D&D is that you make a fucking character, you gotta select the shitty preset, wanking, crappy subclass that predetermines all your abilities that you get at certain levels. Why can't I just choose which ability I want every time I level up? Why do I have to? Why can't I start off with +4 to my strength and fucking constitution at level 1 instead of having rage, for example? It's just terrible. I just hate it. Whereas I'm doing it complete opposite way. Basically, you make a character, you choose a path your character walks, which is basically the trope that they are kind of like a playbook in Powered by the Apocalypse, and it gives you loads of abilities, and you have this long list of abilities that basically you get to choose from. You get to choose 5 when you make a character from a list of I don't know, there's 40 odd or something like that. and basically you just kind of build your character's capabilities based on what do we call it? I do have some like called thematic features, and the way these work is it's like one feature, and every time you take a feature in that feature, you can choose from a list of powers or a list of mini features within that theme. So obviously this one is basically Ancestral Barbarian because that's like the only subclass I like from 5e. And this is kind of similar. Adds loads of shit. I'm adding spell casting. If you want to play a druid who can fucking cast spells, you can. You can have like fucking ancestral approval, which is like people gives you advantage on social rolls and shit like that. So there's gonna be it's gonna be a lot less of a focus on combat in general. And I've rethemed the barbarian, for example. So the barbarian is no longer about just being an angry guy who rages. Rage is an optional element of being a barbarian. Rage is like how I've contextualized the kind of source of power that your character draws from for their abilities. The idea is it's kind of like as nature. As the world attacks you, your rage builds up, and then you use that to fight back against the world around you to survive. The core theme of the barbarian is being a rugged survivalist, being someone who's hard to fucking kill and can survive in any environment. It's not about being a fighter, about being a guy who rages and like fucking goes into a berserker rage. Although that is something that you can do with the class if you want. So you can take like the Berserker class. I've got loads of stuff here. Like I've got Apex Predator, which is like kind of like the it's kind of like recontextual. A lot of what these do, they're called thematic features, and they recontextualize how your class works, how your path works, and they give you a specific idea for how your path works, basically. So this one, for example, is your rage is manifested as a predatory and territorial instinct that gives you a primal connection to nature and allows you to transform as well as hold dominion over nature as an apex predator. So you basically become like a xenomorph, and you basically as you put more points into this, you basically grow, you evolve and adapt, and you become more of an apex predator, and you get loads of abilities like apex form, nature dominion, which allows you to take druid features because you have connection to nature, predator senses, apex adaptation. So basically you can just get loads of things from that, and these alone have way more things, way more options than the D&D subclasses. Just these, and I already have more written into this than D&D has subclasses for barbarian, full stop. So, just goes to show if I can do that, and I'm not saying it's good. But I do have like a lot of experience with RPGs in a lot of different systems, and I am working on making something that I think does a lot of things well. One of these things is, like Deathwalker, for example, which is like you're an undead barbarian, and you're kind of like you're part dead, part alive. You're undead, but not. And you have like dark urges related to the fact that you're undead. And you get loads of powers to do with it. Like deathly physiology. You don't need to eat, breathe, or sleep. Blah blah blah, stuff like that. You get more health. Not health, sorry, vigor, which is a separate thing. A holy feast, you can eat dead bodies to get resources back. Mind Eater, if you eat a brain, you can like get the memories of the person. Who, in rare cases, you can like half your next skill upgrade with experience, stuff like that. Necrotic Aura, Undead Flesh, you get loads of abilities to do with the fact that your flesh is like tougher basically. Return to Undeath, which allows you makes it easier for you to come back to life. One of the things I'm doing is I'm removing Resurrection. I hate Resurrection tabletop RPGs. D&D is the only fucking tabletop RPG where you can just constantly bring people back to life because it's a combat simulator, let's be honest. And it's terrible. Whenever I run D&D, I've always banned Resurrection. Sorry, I know that makes a lot of people angry, but like, it's just tabletop. Your DM's job shouldn't be to kill you. Player death should be a rare thing that's happening. in a tabletop RPG. If you kill a character, you kill off that character's entire potential and all of the stories that could branch off because of that character. If a character dies, generally for me, it's mostly because the player decides that it's time for the character to die from a story perspective, so they'll be like, okay, I sacrifice myself, and I like overcome whatever's happening or whatever. Or it can be like because, you know, of bad rolls. You know, at the end of the day, if you're really unlucky, a lot of times you might die. But there's a famous quote, I can't remember who said it when it comes to DMing, who said, every combat encounter should have a 95% chance of all players surviving without dying. 95% chance. If you add in the ability to just bring people back to life, you completely ruin the very fabric of tabletop RPGs, I think. So that's not going to be a thing. Full stop. You can't bring people back to life. When they die, they die. There will be exceptions, like if you make friends with a god or something, or maybe you like do an entire quest for a god, the god of death, and he's like, right, I'll let your friend's soul out of the land of the dead. If you create a vessel for him, I'll let him come back or something. You know, it's not going to be like a common thing. Anyway, I'm fucking ranting. Fucking ranting. Anyway, I've been working on this for a long time. And that's basically what I've been doing. But I've not been making videos. I've not been doing much reading, and because I've been in a reading slump because of systems collapse, which was really shit, and put me into a reading slump. Yeah. This is basically it. This is where I am. This is what I'm doing mainly at the moment. I might start making videos on these things as I kind of finish them, kind of thing. But as it stands, I'm busy with lots of stuff. So if you've been watching my videos and you're wondering where I've been, reading slump. Have made a video, haven't put it together yet. I said I would make a video. I've just remembered because I have a picture here of the law. By the Dresden Files. Sorry, the Budget Butcher. I remembered I said I'd make a video on that, and then I fucking didn't. I had to make a video on that because I read that as well. To be fair, I will make a video on that. I can't say when it'll be though because I'm a bit busy. I've got a lot of things going on, and also I'm buying my own house, and also I developed a plant addiction. I have become obsessed with house plants for some reason. All of a sudden, I don't know why. I just did. I might have autism, guys. I don't know. Yeah, so that's where I am with the channel and stuff and what I'm doing. So I was trying to get a video done every month or whatever, but that's just not happened. So for lots of reasons, I've been busy. I've got a lot of stuff going on at work. I'm buying a house as well, which is quite stressful. Lots of stuff going on. So the channel's not dead. I'm still doing stuff. I might start making videos on the tabletop RPG I'm making, but I'm not really in a state where I'm happy to really show it off. That's just kind of generally the stuff that's going on. Yeah. That's that. That's where I've been. To the like 2 people who watch my videos. Anyway, thank you for watching. I will be back with more videos. I am doing stuff. I have no intention of becoming like a big YouTuber and making money off it or anything like that, so don't expect consistent upload schedules in the first place, but I am doing things and there will be videos about them, about my various interests. I might make a video about this Pothos that I have back here. Look at the size of this dude. Look at the size of this fella. He's huge. That leaf up there is the size of my head. I don't know how I did it. I don't even know if... Let me show you.